been kicked out of my near every bar around. I've been locked up for driving 120 through town. I've been shot at and cut with a knife, messing around with another man's wife. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Threw my boss out the window and got fired from my last job. Hot wired a city truck and turned it over in the mayor's yard. Paid my brother-in-law half to death. Lost $20 on his football bet. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Good old boys, we're all the same. Ain't no way we'll ever change. Ain't no harm by the things we do, or the trouble that we get into. Other than a wild hair once in a while.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show, Caldo Wednesday today. Ash Brent here with you. Lots to get to. Let's see who's on the podium this morning. Scott Tomko, Greg Garcia, Ryan Hopping.
Nice job, Ryan.
Good job, Ryan. Jumping in just ahead of Torn Bales. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. Glad you're all here.
Is up. He's turning Mission Valley into a park. And
just his little corner. He's making his corner of the world better for
he's
everybody in it, which is him and Melissa.
Yeah. He's doing flower bed work pre-dawn.
There's no dew on the grass this morning.
Absolutely, man. But so we were driving, and yesterday went to Houston for the evening, and over around like El Campo and all that, where you've got literally the wide open farmland, it was a dust storm epic. 50 mile an hour gusts.
They had lots of fires in the Sinton area last night.
Yeah, I need to make some calls, some clients over there to make some phone calls today, but it was ominous looking like that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. San Patricio County.
The welder fire.
Out of control. Why you want to blame it on the welders? They're nice folks. The Wade and Carter weather brought to you by the great folks at AT Deerland Feed. For everything you need, there's Deerland Feed. Tell them, Ash, what's at Deerland Feed right now?
Everything, including red funnels, chicks, all your fertilizers, your pet feeds,
pre-emergence,
livestock.
Post-emergence.
You need your pour-on insecticides for your cows. They've got it.
Like Roundup goes to the door at Deerland Feed and goes, turns and runs the other way because there's a big dog in there. They've got like napalm, whatever you need. Agent Orange. They probably got some Agent Orange in the back.
Something kicking around.
Jackie, you go out there and go, with that scream she makes, and they bring up the Agent Orange. 51 degrees in Victoria, Texas today, heading to a high of only 72. Sunny skies. Hopefully, doesn't say here it's going to be windy. So hopefully today everything calms down a little.
Yeah, you think it will?
Yeah, I hope so.
Torn Bales, David Glass, good morning. Wendy Hughes Garcia, Deidre Johnston, Mark Kurtz, Justin Glass, Bobby Leister, looking forward to Caldo Wednesday. Heather Stewart, good morning. Linda Christ, Lisa Poole, Jordan Glass, Torn Bales. We're going to get right to that because I was just going to ask Marvin Mickus, Scott Snow, Brent Anderson, Mark Zapata, Scott Tomko, Sherry Jacobs. Good morning, everybody. So, yeah, Torrin says, and I'll show his comment so everybody can see it, but he'll start it off. What an embarrassing night for the Democrats, and it really was. And I'm not going to comment on the politics part or the policy part because that's where both sides do the same silent treatment and stand up,
right,
and don't stand up and. You know, my daughter joked that the Republicans were up and down more than a Catholic wedding yesterday.
Yeah, it was like church aerobics.
Yeah, but
not the Dems.
No,
set on their hands.
Which again, with the policy stuff, that's expected because both sides do that. But the appalling thing for me was you've got a little boy there who had cancer,
13-year-old kid,
and you know, forgive me for not catching his name.
It was somewhat of in respect, like a Make-A-Wish moment. He wanted to be a Secret Service agent.
Yeah. But they made him one.
Yeah, that's nice.
And the Dems couldn't even applaud that.
No.
Regardless of how you feel about President Trump, the look on that little kid's face when President Trump announced that he was going to be sworn in as a Secret Service agent was priceless. The kid was so surprised.
And I have to admit that both sides do this. It's a feel-good moment. And I've seen the Democrats do it. Biden did it well. And I would say to myself, it's just politics. Oh, he's just trying to get an attaboy. But I gave him the attaboy. I always said, man, that's a nice touch.
And we've been critical of that on both sides when they trot out some of these people to make a political point, using them as pawns in that.
Yeah, but
there really was no political point to be made about making a little kid's dream come true other than, I don't understand what
the Dems should have. They didn't clap.
The only political point made was the fact that the Dems have absolutely no conscience when it comes to kids.
No, they didn't clap at all. They're probably wishing that child would have been aborted. But at the end of the day, there were two moments that also stood out where the Dems just literally showed their ugly side, and it's going to haunt them in the midterms. And one was when the Houston girl, was a 12-year-old girl, was abducted, taken, assaulted, and then later murdered under a bridge in Houston. Donald Trump did an executive order and renamed over by the San Jacinto Monument over on that side of the coast. There's a huge 34,000-acre refuge for birds and wildlife. And he renamed it after this girl, Jocelyn. The Dems silent. No applause. Very interesting to me. And then when Laken Riley, you'll recall Laken Riley was at Georgia, was killed by a
Tren de Agua.
Right, which, by the way, the other girl was too. All three of the assailants were all from this Tren de Agua from Venezuela. Trump
makes MS-13 look like choir boys.
Yeah, they signed into law that, the Laken Riley Act, and Laken Riley's mother was there, and 12 of the Democrats in attendance, 12 of them voted for the Laken Riley Act. No applause. No applause. And the mother of this slain young girl was there. Trump pointed out, thank you for being here. Nah, they don't even clap. I get if you don't want to stand, but if you don't go, hey, good for you, Mom. Thanks for showing up. No, they're not giving. Trump said it I could bring you a cure for the most insidious disease ever, and you wouldn't clap. And he goes, 5 times I've been up here. And basically said, you hate me so much, you can't see the forest for the trees.
Yeah, he said, this is my 5th such speech to Congress. And once again, I look at the Democrats in front of me and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I could do. I could find a cure to the most devastating disease, a disease that would wipe out entire nations, or announce the answers to the greatest economy in history, or the stoppage of crime to the lowest levels ever recorded. And these people sitting right here will not clap, will not stand, and certainly will not cheer for these astronomical achievements. They won't do it no matter what. 5 times I've been up here. It's very sad, and it just shouldn't be this way.
I could not agree more. You can hate him all you want, but to ignore the results is absurd.
Yeah.
So here, I got this note in and said, this is a quick hit list. And again, this is politics. It's not, they're saying Trump's coming after your Social Security Administration budget. Yeah. Not your benefits, but that's the line. The Democrats use it.
Yeah.
Here's things he talked about that the Democrats did not applaud or stand for. Tax cuts, the border being closed. Amazing. Did you know that last week, since I think it's February 15th, is the lowest body count border encounters ever recorded? What's changed? President. new president said, I'm not putting up with it. They just quit coming. They pushed on Biden because they know there was no pushback. I'll tell you this. They would have never pushed on Obama like that. They pushed on Biden.
They didn't. Obama deported more illegals than Trump did. Maybe not by the end of this, but no president has deported more illegal immigrants in his presidency than Barack Obama.
Oh, there was a teen getting into West Point. It had been his dream to get into West Point, and the newly appointed Secret Service agent tapped that kid on the shoulder, gave him a high five, just like teen to teen.
DJ Daniels, the little boy's name, and I believe
Awesome.
I think you and I were there when he got sworn in as a Victoria County Sheriff's officer as well.
He's
Sheriff's
been here?
deputy, yes.
Okay, I knew we had done that before. I knew that we did that for Pastor Hobbs' granddaughter as well.
That might have been at the
Yeah,
Warriors weekend.
I think so.
Muster?
Or was it? Okay.
I think.
The doctors gave that little boy 5 months to live. That was six years ago. Yeah. Hope drives people forward.
They were huge in Ireland this
Dublin,
morning.
I don't know where in Ireland right now. But
At a pub, I'm sure.
We're probably in
drinking some Guinness.
Dublin, Ireland. Rena says good morning or afternoon for me. That's not because she's not sure about the time. No. That's because she didn't know where she's at right now. Fantastic.
She might be straddling the international date line or something. I don't know. Linda Chris says the Dems wore pink for women the day before they were against removing men from women's sports. And yeah, it's funny that they can't even define a woman.
But they know that some boys ought to compete with them because they feel like women.
Yeah, Dem senators just out of line.
Is it crazy that we have to even talk about that?
No. Yes, I mean it is, but we waste our breath on it. No, it is crazy.
Al Green got kicked out.
Yeah.
Let's stay together.
Idiot.
Yeah, he's an idiot. And
trying to take up for Sheila Jackson Lee.
So you can call me racist because you've done it before. But to me, everybody has a chance to act equally, certainly in Congress. But if you're a black congressperson, should you maybe not go along with the stereotype of being loud and screaming? And I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like Jasmine Crockett. I'm telling you, they're going to be touting her the Dems are going to be touting her for a cabinet position in their next cycle.
I think Al Green is just trying to be the next Sheila Jackson Lee.
Sheila
Squeaky
Jackson
wheel
Lee
gets the grease in Houston, and what has it done? What did it do for the Fifth Ward? Nothing.
No,
cesspool.
And Jasmine Crockett's from Houston. I don't know where Al Green's from. What an embarrassing dude. And it's like inner city blacks.
Alyssa Slotkin gave the Democrat response yesterday.
You said you thought she was pretty sharp?
No, it was very, very, very calculated. And I see Kelly Fromey's in the lobby, and we're gonna talk law enforcement and the Victoria 100 Club a little bit. But I thought it was very, very calculated to try to move the Democrats more to the center left than
they want them to become
because they're I mean, if Republicans are far right, according to the left and the media, then the Democrats are far left. Let's call it what it is.
But see,
there's no party in the middle right now, to be honest, as we traditionally have defined the middle.
But here's the middle, and let's say Republicans are here, and the left screams that they are far right. But if the majority of Americans are over here, then let's just move the bar because this is where we are. This is where we are. A little more conservative, a little more United States centric, a little more. Have you heard any update on Zelensky? I know he's been negotiating with, I heard he went and tried to grift a little bit off King Charles. I forget about King Charles. Him and Camilla just laying around eating bonbons these days in their retirement. But see, I think we're going to see the monarchy dissolved in our lifetime, and it's going to be because because Charles' arrogant, snobby ass had to be king. If they would have just made William the king. If the Brits for a moment could
I think his mom wanted him to be king for a little while.
well, isn't that sweet? Let's just pass along the royalty card. But they're losing the young Brit thinks the whole thing's a joke. I don't
because the young Brit doesn't exist anymore. They're all old Brits, and all the young Brits are
leaving.
immigrants who weren't born in England. They've got an immigration crisis over there that they don't even want to talk about, and the problems it's causing. But that's their issue. They're too busy weighing in on what we're doing over here. But yeah, I thought Slotkin.
She's pretty sharp. She's got a resume.
Well, but of course they wanted to point out that she's served this country, right? I mean, let's be honest. The Dems went as far away from trying to bring out somebody who maybe you wouldn't know who their pronouns are when they were standing up there. Maybe you couldn't tell what nationality they are descended from. In their ability or willingness to try to be the party to everybody and the party of inclusion, they grabbed a first-term lawmaker from Michigan who just happens to be white, and the only difference is she's female. They somehow found a Democrat who's served this country because Tulsi Gabbard no longer fits their agenda.
She's no longer the token military person or service person.
And they had to find the one that, jumped to service because she was in New York City when 9/11 took place. I mean, check all the boxes that the Democrats think that they can use to appeal to Americans.
Yeah.
And this is how you know, though, that there's no future in the Democrat Party for Miss Slotkin.
Right.
Because they threw her out there to be the response to this.
She'll be becoming a Republican at some point.
It's never worked out well for anybody on either side of the aisle when they throw them out there to be the one to respond. They view it as a great honor, but it's really the death knell of your political career in either party.
There you go. My brother-in-law, David Ballard, says Jasmine Crockett is from Dallas. Houston has enough crazy Democrats. February of 22 is when that young man was sworn in by VPD and Sheriff's Office.
Maybe we weren't there then.
Al Green's from Memphis. There you have it.
John Anderson checking in. Tammy Williams, should we take our first break?
Tammy Williams says Ukraine sent a letter that they would comply with Trump's ask before his address. Interesting. Good morning, John Anderson. Sure.
Yeah, Zelensky yesterday basically flipped his script. Today is called a Wednesday. Get to Veracruz for lunch. Get there early. Because if you try to sneak a late lunch, you're going to miss all the caldo. All the caldo will be gone by 12:30. I'm calling it today.
That early?
That early.
That's
USA
bold.
Concrete Coating. Give Charlie Garcia and the gang a call, 578-HOME, for all your concrete needs. Coating. They can transform any drab slab that you have. They'll get it done for you. The Dollar Floor Store. They're going to save you a bunch of money, especially if you're a Wade and Carter listener.
Dollar Floor Store?
Just tell them that you're a Wade and Carter listener when you go in the Dollar Floor Store, and you'll save up to $500 depending on how much you spend. So there you go.
Wow. Did you negotiate that? Or did you just make that up on the fly?
No, I was told.
Pete Strauss here. Great point for all of our Catholic friends. It's Ash Wednesday, whether you're Catholic or not. But then again, they've got vegan dishes for you also at Veracruz Day. Allen's Record
Well, you
Service.
should give the meat to somebody else out of your caldo. You don't have to eat
You can
meat.
donate it. Can you write it off? 578-6300. That's Allen's Record Service. Parvita Wellness. Get in and get healthy. Get in and get a low cal, low carb, whatever you need. Let Erica Briggs help you with your meal
I had a
plan.
really good one there from there yesterday. The salsa chicken, roasted salsa chicken with cauli rice and black beans was really good, sort of Cubanish.
Very nice. So I'm going to bring in our friend, Callie Frommy. Callie, there's your camera, and you have a hot mic.
All right.
Talk closely into it.
Good
and
morning.
Do not be shy.
Morning.
All right.
And welcome, friend. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
You wear many hats in town. Most of them these days seem to be philanthropic, and we appreciate that. All you do for our community. Share with folks what's going on at the 100 Club and what it means to you. And how did you get involved in the 100 Club to begin with?
Well,
That's
my
a lot
parents
of
were always
questions.
members, and I remember as a child them coming home from the banquets and talking about how neat it was to be sitting at the table with a trooper or a police officer, and they always enjoyed that. And a friend invited me to serve on the board, and I became president. And I hope I'm not the president for
Naturally,
eternity.
she went
you know,
all Elon and took over the
Yeah.
entire organization.
well, women tend to get things done.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
So, in all the talk about the president's address last night, I don't recall y'all talking about how much he was supporting law enforcement. There were a few occasions where he talked about law enforcement and, of course, about a slain officer. And the Democrats just sat there. I mean,
Right.
you talked about them sitting on their hands with the cancer patient, Lake and Riley, all that. And the same thing with the police. I mean, I just don't understand how you cannot have a heart and applaud what our law enforcement do for us every day, all day long. It's unbelievable.
It's kind of like if you found out that Louis Pasteur cheated on his wife, but you're like, we'll take the milk, though. We like the milk. I mean, give me a break.
Well, anyway, so I'm here to talk about the 100 Club, and
Yes,
I think that probably the majority of your listeners, you've welcomed me on this show a few times now, so they probably have a pretty good idea of what the 100 Club does. But our annual banquet is coming up, and our speaker is a gentleman named Masad Ayub, and I think that for anyone that either has a license to carry or does carry or thinks they might ever be in a situation where they're going to have to defend themselves, then this guy is worth a listen. And I don't know if you can see this book, but it's Deadly Force. And I've got all my little tabs on how fascinating it is.
Give us a taste. Can you give us a quick one?
So, like in the very end of the book, he has the 10 commandments, or the 5 commandments, I guess, for what happens if you ever did have to, defend yourself.
Make sure there's only one witness.
And he also, so I'm going to tell you what the little checklist is after a shooting, but he does also debunk myths about dragging the person through your front door. And he talks in this book about the castle doctrine and things that we all think we know, but you probably really don't.
Right.
It's going to be fascinating. But for instance, after a shooting, there's a 5-point checklist, and one of them,
Reload.
good plan.
Make
But
sure
like
he's
instead of saying, when you call 911, for instance, instead of saying, I shot him, you really need to say, this man tried to kill me.
Right.
You immediately need to establish who's the victim here.
Right.
Then
The dead guy can't be the victim, can he? Right. No, I'm with you.
yeah. So then number 2 has to again, it's reinforcing the fact that you're the good guy by making a very clear statement to the police to the effect of, I will sign a complaint against the person who attacked me, reinforcing again that you're the victim. And in that situation, number 3 would be to point out the evidence because it's going to be a chaotic scene. Another point is to point out the witnesses. And then, after all that, politely decline further questioning until you have consulted an attorney. And earlier in the book, too, he debunks advice that says, don't say anything, zip your mouth. And he's like, no, there are things you do need to say right off the bat to protect yourself, because this is all about protecting you when you've had to protect yourself or save somebody. Mm-hmm. It's really interesting.
I know, and I've been told and assured by folks, including our own Sheriff Louderback. Ash and I have taken the LTC class with Sheriff Louderback. Of course, he always describes when you have to use a weapon to defend yourself, you're standing on thin ice. But there's things you can do and situations that can enhance the thickness of your ice.
Sure. And you're even if you have to defend yourself, and unfortunately, if you have to kill somebody and you're absolutely in the right, you're going to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars defending yourself.
And that's one reason I want to attend, because I've been told that the idea of it being like the last 4 minutes of Gunsmoke, where they go, well, there's nothing to see here. Somebody clean up the mess and let's all go home. No, you're going to go downtown for questioning. You may even be booked. You may be reviewed by the district attorney. There may be lots, and as there should be, right? If a human life is taken, there should be lots of duty involved in making sure that it wasn't premeditated, to make sure it wasn't murder, to make sure it merited, that you did actually fear with imminent fear for your life.
Exactly. And he does spend a chapter on George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin, talking about that case, where you think things are cut and dried and they're just not. But in the beginning of the book, when he talks about a situation of immediate danger, that the three things that need to exist is the ability, opportunity, and jeopardy. So that the ability means that the assailant does possess the power to kill or cripple. And the opportunity is that he is capable of immediately doing that. And jeopardy means that his actions or words indicate to a reasonable, prudent person that he intends to do what he's going to do.
Right. It's like it's a lot easier to justify defending yourself using deadly force if you're in a corner of an alley and you've got nowhere to go. The guy's bigger than you. He's got a lead pipe and he seems intent upon killing you. You are in a pretty good spot right there. But if the guy's standing at your front door with a box of Girl Scout cookies and you bust a hole in his chest, you're probably going to the pokey. Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting that you mentioned that the guy was just going to bludgeon you in the alley, because most people would think that you're really only threatened if someone has a gun. But he spends a lot of time in the book talking about a club or a knife, and people think, well, if they've got a knife and they're clear across the room, I'm not in any danger. I've got time to escape. But there's a whole deal that I think that everyone in law enforcement probably knows about it. I guess it's pronounced the Tueler. There's a Tueler drill, and it turns out that someone with a knife can get to you. They can cross 21 feet in a second and a half.
Right.
So this is the kind of stuff that our speaker will be talking about. And he's just an expert. He's a world-renowned expert on this topic. He does lots of education. He's got lots of books. He has a website and a group. And he's an expert witness, especially in defending law enforcement if they have to draw their weapons.
He's the Ron Burgundy of self-defense. Here's my deal. Such a worthy cause. I know that in an ideal world, I mean this, in an ideal world, people would send you $150, have a family membership, put their sticker on their car, promote the organization, help you help fallen officers in need, and they wouldn't show up to the dinner, right? No catering fees, no open bar. Just send me your $150, join the organization. It stands on its own. Its worth, its merit is unparalleled and not questioned in any way.
Thank you.
But it's such a worthy organization. You should go and learn something from this guy for free.
Right. So your membership in the 100 Club, which is only $100 a year for one person, and there's not one meeting to attend. There's no obligations. There's no committees. There is nothing.
And tell him why you want the money.
Well, the money is so that it goes into this bigger pot of money that we invest, and that big pot grows. And the main purpose is that if an officer or any first responder in our Victoria County area were to fall or become disabled in the line of duty, we're going to go and help their family. We might pay off a mortgage, which we've done. We might start a college fund for the children,
Which you've done.
which we've done. We may just pay off some debts, just whatever it is that the survivors need. That is our primary purpose. But we also pay for additional life insurance for the county first responders. That's in addition to what the county provides. And then every year we take a little bit of money. We don't decide in advance what that dollar figure is going to be, but we allow the first responders to apply for grants to us for things that they just can't afford, things that they need to perform their jobs more safely or more efficiently, but it's just not in their budget. So, for instance, we just awarded the sheriff's office with 14 helmets that they need in SWAT situations, because things like that and bulletproof vests, for instance, they age out. They just become less effective over time.
But you guys have been able to do that, to grow your ministry, if you will, because of the success of this event coming up and because you've been studious with the funds. David Brogger, police officer, said, "Thank you, Victoria 100 Club, for all you do for law enforcement."
When is the annual meeting of the Victoria 100 Club?
The annual meeting is on March 20th at the Country Club, cocktails at 6 and dinner at 6:45. But we just, in addition to buying those helmets, we also bought 10 new rifles for the police department. We bought this amazing computer software for the fire department that helps them live know where all of their vehicles are to make their responses more efficient than the old system. I mean, just things like that. So your membership dollars feed the kitty, and I've described the different things that we do with that money, but we're so responsible and conservative with our funds. And I say to everyone that if you ever think you would have a reason to call 911, then why don't you support what we're doing?
Amen.
Yeah.
Well, I think of it, it's a little simple, but you're almost like the baseball booster club for law enforcement.
That's right.
I mean, but, oh, by the way,
Sherry Jacobs asked if you have to live in Victoria to join. You do not.
Heck
you do
no.
not. But if you drive in Victoria, I mean, you might as well come on in. You'll see them around
You
town.
can
It's a-
speed through Victoria when you
it's
put that little sticker on your back
literally
window.
a get out of jail free car. No,
Kidding, we kid.
It's a little blue oval. It says 100 on it and with gold letters. It's a very, very, it's nice. You see them on the backs of cars. It just shows that you support law enforcement.
Tell Sherry where she can go to join if she wants.
Victoria100club.com.
There you go. Very easy.
Yep.
$100, $150 for
For a couple. For a
and
year.
and then what's a lifetime? A lifetime
If you want to do a lifetime membership, which if you think you're going to live more than 10 years, it's a deal. So $1,000 for a single life insurance, life membership, and $1,500 for a couple to be life members.
I'm kind of getting to the point where, I kind of, it's iffy. I'm on a year-to-year basis. The great thing about being my age is you can look at me wrong and I can fear for my life. So I pretty much can shoot anybody. I'm scared to death. Boom. Sorry.
The bad thing about you at your age, you're starting to shake, and
Right.
now your aim isn't as good as it used
Your
to be.
aim may not be so great.
Why did you shoot him 8 times? I had to reload.
But I think that if you are interested in what I'm talking about,
We are. I'm very excited about this guy.
it's going to be fascinating. He has a website of his own.
Well, that won't be Wade and Carter bingo night because we know where we're going to be on the 20th.
That's right. The 20th.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to
okay,
immediately
though.
put my hands on it, but his name is Massad Ayoob. It's MASSADAYOOB. And you can look at his resume. He could find his website and look at his credentials.
Where does he live? Do you know where he lives?
I think Florida.
Okay.
Been to many of your of these meetings over the last several years, and they've always been absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, it's a fascinating program every time. And I mean, not that that's really the issue, but it's Victoria Country Club. The food is good. The bar service is great. The people are friendly.
Yeah, you'll know a lot of people.
You'll
there,
know
too.
a lot of people. The Torn Bale says a great organization with a great mission. Callie, you're a huge friend of the show, and
Thank you.
and we just we appreciate all you do on,
Well,
on a lot of levels. So
No,
thank you for
Thanks for the platform.
Yes, ma'am,
I
always.
appreciate that. All right.
Oh.
All right.
His
what'd you do?
website's
Tell us
there.
again. Oh, there it is. There's the website
Thank you. All
for
right.
him.
Awesome. Looking
Hey.
forward to the 20th because it's like I said, it's one of the most fascinating events, presentations that I attend.
Should
every
be
year.
really informative, and it is pertinent to all Victorians because most of us have a weapon at some point in the house. You might as well know. how to
Most of our
protect
lives
yourself.
have been touched by first responders at some point. as well.
Absolutely. And that's the important part is the organization. So thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
in.
Appreciate
Have a
it.
great day.
Before you leave, your thoughts last night on the State of the Union. Did you get a chance to watch it?
Oh,
She
no.
taped it. She's
I
watched
watched
it
it, and, I have a little girlfriend text group that we were texting madly back and forth the entire time. It was very positive to me. I mean, it was not a negative presentation at all, and I was glad that Trump didn't revert back to sometimes how he just drones on and on about
Like
the
us.
past and just,
Like us.
keeps just where you're yawning and you just wanted to move on. So there was not any of that, and I appreciated
I
that.
want Arizona with the biggest ever. It's a great state. Those sorts of things,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
they
I
get
won a lot
really-
of them. I won a lot of those states.
Yeah, it's more than you can believe. It's unbelievable. But I think that my
gonna be great.
takeaway was mainly about the Democrats. You know, they were just so sour and dejected. I don't even think dejected. They were just pissed off.
Well,
Right. They are.
Mark Fogel, the teacher that has been held in Russia for 4 years. They don't. I mean, the Democrats hate Russia, hate Putin. They were clamoring for this guy's release. He's invited to the White House in the State of the Union, and because he was invited by Donald Trump, they didn't care.
Yeah, and earlier you were talking about Al Green, and he is a representative from Houston. You said he was from Louisiana, but I believe he represents Houston. And I didn't understand what it was that he was hollering about, but I think that he was upset about the Medicaid, or yeah, I think it was Medicaid that he got so upset about. And I haven't heard anything about Trump messing with Medicaid. I haven't. No. And now, you know, he's talking about cleaning up all the fraud in the Social Security Administration. That doesn't mean he's going to be taking away any Social Security benefits.
Just cleaning up
cleaning
the
it up. Why can anyone be upset about that? And that's what I don't understand is all this stuff that they're finding. We should all be thrilled that our tax dollars that we pay for aren't going to all this nonsense. I mean, that should be bipartisan.
To me, anything, we've said it here for at least since he got reelected, anything that reduces the size of the federal government and returns power to the states ought to be championed. And with Trump saying, hey, Elon, put your computers to work and see if you can streamline Social Security. The Dems, knowing that they're lying, say he's coming after your Social Security. He's coming after your Medicaid.
It's fear-mongering.
That's right. And that's
purposeful fear-mongering.
When you see through it, then they've got no credibility.
Slotkin said the same thing last night. I'm trying to find it in her transcript to see
Yeah.
if they actually put it in there, because the way she used the wording was very much fear-mongering.
Mm-hmm. She said that, you know,
he could very well come after your retirement.
She did.
The Social Security, Medicare, and VA. See, they don't. He said he won't.
I've heard him
but
say
they won't
with
let
Hannity and JD Vance. He goes, no, we will not be affecting your Social Security or Medicare rights.
But to Ash's point, she said he may do it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
He could very well come after. And could's one of those words. Anything could happen.
Yeah.
Right? It's one of those things. It's why people live in fear so much. I can't let my kid walk to school, even though it's just across the street, because he could get kidnapped. I mean, it's a word that brings a lot of fear, because in reality, anything could happen, right? It's just, I mean, that's
sure.
life, right?
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah.
So
That's why you should carry a gun and be prepared.
Here's a paragraph for you that if Donald Trump said it, if Donald Trump said this, the left would go nuts on fact checking. While we're on the subject of Elon Musk, is there anyone in America who is comfortable with him and his gang of 20-year-olds using their computer servers to poke through your tax returns?
Anybody better to use their
health
computers than a bunch of
information?
20-year-olds who know what they're doing?
Yeah, your bank
Maybe Cody.
accounts. No oversight, no protections against cyber attack, no guardrails on what they do with your private data. Do you think, Ash, that Elon Musk wants to open a credit card in your name? I mean, are you worried about Elon Musk stealing your...
Elon Musk had more access probably to your information that you voluntarily gave him when he owned PayPal.
Yeah, for years.
Than he does now.
And what about the people in the pink, all the Democrats that did not vote about the transgender, I don't know the terminology, in
She just
women's
men
and
straight
women.
up throughout trans.
Men and women's sports bill, yeah.
Yeah, so
You know,
is that
hey, it's that second vodka early in the morning.
Yeah.
Trannies are taking over sports.
but is that what the pink was about? Is that what they were wearing the pink for?
is for to celebrate women and breast cancer awareness and all that, I guess, right?
I'm
I
not
guess.
100% sure.
I guess.
I think it had to do with the sports. I don't know.
I don't know.
What
but
do I know?
The Dems voted unanimously to not support.
The Democrat senators, because I believe 13 Democrats actually voted with the House to pass that bill.
But don't you think when those people go up for re-election that's
Should be.
going, whoever's running against them, that's a huge, what are you thinking kind of a topic?
67% of this country believes that men should not be playing women's sports.
And the other
Of course it
33% are stupid.
Yeah. Of course, it trends a little bit higher when you split it out Republican versus Democrat, but as a whole, 67% of this country, 67% of this country doesn't agree on anything anymore
Right.
except this issue.
Well, I will say I always admire your math skills. You know, you do that
Pretty
real
good at
fast.
that.
Yeah, that's
Ash,
pretty
the guy that go, Ash will go like this. 51 people out of 100. He goes, that's almost 50%.
Peter McNally,
Okay.
nothing more than a big pep rally. What a farce. That's all it is, Peter.
That's all politics
That's
is,
all
Peter.
the State of the Union has been for
Ever.
decades.
Forever.
But because Donald Trump's the one giving the speech, you don't like it. When Joe Biden could barely mumble through it for the last 4 years, you were good with it. Uh-oh. Oh.
okay.
So, yeah, don't give me this what a farce garbage.
And then the auction paddle thing, that was kind of childish. And did you see the one rep who ripped one out of a Democrat's hands at the very beginning when they were all coming in?
I'll be honest, at the very beginning, I was watching hockey.
Okay, well, when Trump was walking in with the whole entourage and shaking hands and all that, you know, of course, everyone on the Republican side is shaking and greeting, and the other side is just pissed off and sitting on their hands. But they had all their different paddles and signs, and one woman was holding a sign that said something like, "This isn't reality," or I don't even remember exactly what her sign said, but a Republican reached across, grabbed her sign and threw it down, it was kind of childish. I get it, but it was a funny comment when someone said, "And who says the Republicans don't reach across the aisle?" It was pretty good.
Baylor alum.
My son is a junior at Baylor.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, studying history.
So,
You spend 50 grand a year on college, they give you a cup.
No, they didn't.
We
give
didn't get
me
one
that.
of those.
I'll agree with Slocken at one point. She said we need more efficient government. You want to cut waste? I'll help you do it. Good, let's do it. But Democrats have not wanted to cut waste ever.
Look, but change, her next comment, but change doesn't need to be chaotic or make us less safe. I don't know anything that Trump's done that's made us less safe. I don't feel any less safe.
But I will agree to an extent. The Doge stuff seems to be a little bit chaotic because they're moving so quickly. It doesn't seem like they're on this. They find something, then they move on. Like, it doesn't seem like they're actually identifying the waste. They're identifying a lot of money. But what are they doing with that waste? That's the part to me that seems a little bit chaotic. So I'm going to agree a little bit with her, but I agree. What is being done that has made this country less safe?
Only safer. Look at the border.
But you're right. Yeah. Fewest number of encounters on record.
Yeah.
Now, you've run a business. You know what it's like to say.
The mindless firing of people who protect our nuclear weapons. I'm not going to get into that one, but keep our planes from crashing. There's been fewer plane crashes in the first 2 months of this year.
That's right.
January, February, than at any time since like 2010 in the same period.
That's right.
And it's been falling every year for the last several. So that's just more fear-mongering BS.
It's a hot button right now, right? So you're peaked in. If they started talking about 18-wheeler accidents and they blame that on Trump somehow, then you would go, well, there was another 18-wheeler overturned on. I mean, Allen's Record Service makes a living doing that.
Yeah, and I'm going to debunk something else. That, conduct research that finds a cure for cancer only to rehire them 2 days later. No CE in America could do that without being summarily fired. This is where you don't understand business. It happens all the time, especially in the oil industry. I've lived through that when Mobil Oil in Canada, when their Canadian subsidiary would cut 1,800 people and hire them all back on Monday. They'd cut them all on Friday. They'd hire 1,500 of them back as contract workers on Monday. Or a new owner comes in, he shuts the business or she shuts the business down for a day or two to establish that they're the new owner and this is now my business.
When you live in a world, when you run a business, small business and a larger business, when you run a business and you deal in the world, the reality of zero-based budgeting, it is common to cut until it hurts and then add back.
Well,
it's not beautiful. You don't love telling that guy, hey, I've got to let you go.
No, but the whole idea is to make money, right?
Right.
And if you can figure out a way to make money with less, then that's what you're going to do. And the cream rises to the top. So the employees that are performing well and more efficient and making you money, that's the ones you keep.
That's right.
And your biggest expense in every business is personnel.
And maybe insurance, right, Brett?
Absolutely. Insurance is going to be one of your top 5 expenses. Sarah Scott Dodson, thank you, Sarah, says, I read that the caucus called on the women to wear pink because it was a color of power and protest. Okay.
But see, even all the Dems couldn't come together for that because there was a smattering of pink here and a smattering of pink there. Not all the women were wearing pink. It's just
But Ash, a minute ago you talked about Slotnick and saying that she would help cut cost. To be fair, Republicans and Democrats, as a Congress and a Senate, they've had the ability to do this all along.
absolutely.
So shame on all of them.
That's right.
I mean, it was what during Trump's first term, Senator Rand Paul suggested the penny plan. I think we had Congressman Cloud on to talk
was a
about
big
that,
champion. Just give me 1 penny out of every dollar you spend.
and they couldn't do it. And now they're all clamoring because we're talking 20 and 30 cents for every dollar spent that Elon Musk is finding. And I'll say this, and I've said it before. Argentina's cut 30% of spending across the board in the government, and their economy seems to be doing just fine.
I'm an empathetic individual. You put a government employee in front of me, and he tells me I'm a military veteran. I've worked in the Department of fill in the blank for 15 years, and I was dismissed last Friday with no recourse and with no cause for being dismissed. I personally hurt for that guy. But from a political standpoint, from a economic standpoint, from a running the country smoothly standpoint, if it's identified that USAID is fraught with fraud, that it's bloated, that it's running amok, doing, the National Institutes of Health doing 60,000 grants a year, impossible to review.
Didn't Stacey Abrams get millions
Yes.
from USAID?
So there, when you start seeing it like that, I've got no problem going shook, and just getting rid of USAID. Sadly, displacing the young girl who always wanted to serve in Rwanda, and she's over there doing her part. And she started out as a missionary, and that's all beautiful. Hook up with a church and go back.
No, there's plenty of people that it's unfortunate they've lost their jobs, but if they're good, hardworking people that have skills, someone will snatch them right up.
They should be highly prized employees, right?
If they're worth their salt.
Hell, they can all
exactly
go
right.
lobby. That seems to be who they want to do that. It's interesting, though. Donald Trump hasn't told any of them, well, go learn a trade. Or whatever it was that Joe
what
Biden
did.
told them.
Biden told the
all
Keystone
yeah.
guys,
Go learn. Go get another. Go
Go
learn
get another
trade.
job.
Yeah.
No one was upset about that.
No.
Jack.
And
Told the pipeline welders, you want to do push-ups?
Peter McNally says on the rolls and getting a check are two different issues. No, but they're kind of one and the same, because we've done a terrible job across this country of cleaning up rolls across all. I mean, look at our voter rolls that are a mess.
Well, it's just impossible because the Social Security Administration, for example, has got to bring in money to deal with all the people. If you got 5,000 people on your list, but really only 2,000 of them are getting checks, they're still collecting taxes from me to fund those 5,000. Where the money's going, we don't know.
Yeah. I mean, nobody on the Democrat side. We talked about it. He could very well come after your Social Security. Well, he said he's not going to tax anybody getting Social Security benefits, and the Dems sat on their hands. What better way to keep money in the pockets? I mean, the cost of living increase doesn't even keep up with that anymore at Social Security, but we're not going to tax you anymore if your Social Security is bringing you in 50 grand.
Doesn't matter. Sorry.
But the Dems just sat on their hands. Didn't care.
There you go. Our own Sheriff Louderback, the Honorable House District 30 State Rep, I'm convinced when they said that he was going to be on the border committee, border encounters stopped. The Chuck Norris of law enforcement, they're scared to death of him.
Well, we're proud of him. He's doing a good job.
He's doing a great job.
Yeah.
He's going to do great.
And I think he
things.
actually started attending some committee meetings because they finally got their act together over there in Austin.
What I love about him is he's been frustrated learning, but he's a veteran of legislation up there for years, but he's frustrated at the pace with which they're approaching things because we're finally going to get into some committees.
Yeah, because this thing's over May, make up a number, May 12th. I don't know exactly, but the session ends so quickly. It's hard to get anything done, especially when they drug their feet for so long.
Well,
Amen.
one thing he pointed out to me, and I was aghast when I heard it.
Aghast.
Yes, aghast.
Tell us.
They go to work every 2 years, our state reps, right? Our state
The
legislators.
rest of the time they campaign.
Yeah, seems like it.
Yeah.
Or they're back in their district supposedly doing what they're supposed to be doing. Yet they're up there for a few months every 2 years. And he was telling me that they all vote to take Fridays off. Not Sheriff Louderback. He votes against it every time.
I'm proud of him for that.
But I was just like, are you serious? They're required to be on the job for 4 to 5 months every 2 years in Austin. And by and large, they're almost all voting to take every Friday off.
They should be ashamed of themselves.
They should be.
It's like if they were in the oil field, instead of 14 on, 14 off, it's like 10 on, sort of, a couple of days, and then 14 off.
Well, and you can't get anything done. You're not going to make any money in the oil
right.
field, for instance. So the same as in the legislature, you're not going to get anything done, and you're just wasting money.
Amen. 100%. So I'm proud of our state rep. I'm proud of our congressman. I'm proud of our president. It's a pretty good day to be an American.
He pointed out some things yesterday too, like Honda yesterday announcing they're going to bring the Civic and produce it in Indiana.
Is there anything
All
any
to
more
av-
American than a Honda Civic made in Indiana?
All to avoid
Reliable cars.
all to avoid tariffs.
Gary, Indiana.
Don't know it. Sorry.
Goes way back.
Outside of Chicago, I think, right? Not
Yeah,
a
it's
very
just
good
kinda
part.
south.
Not a very good part of Indiana.
No, not great.
But yeah, they're
Home
Honda
of the
announced
Jackson 5. Home of the Jackson 5.
they're gonna bring it back to the U.S. to avoid the tariffs.
Isn't it funny how that's working out? Now, Ash and I don't necessarily agree on the tariffs as pertains to Canada because he's still a homer, and Canada won that hockey game.
Being a lumber gal, I am in favor of some of that mess because the tariffs that Canada has imposed on us has not been fair for years.
Yeah, but let's not forget, 6 years ago, Donald Trump renegotiated NAFTA and touted how great the Mexican-America-Canada free trade agreement was that he renegotiated, and now he hates it. I mean, that's the
He's
problem I've got.
allowed to vacillate. He's a politician.
But NAFTA never really did what it was supposed to do.
I mean, to me, you get rid of all tariffs and trade is free, and whoever has the best product is the winner, regardless of where it's from. That's just the way. I mean, that's if you truly believe.
But
in free
affordable
trade.
housing does not exist because it's not affordable. So let's use some lumber in the United States. We've got some timber. Cut off some
We
of the
do.
regulations. Let us
The
cut our own
Pacific
timber.
Northwest is full of trees.
Yeah.
So is Georgia in the southeast.
Right, but there's so many regulations that keep us from using our own timber, and any tree huggers who want to fuss about that have to realize that any lumber company like Weyerhaeuser, for instance, they would be foolish not to replant and take care of their forests. Why on earth would they not replant and continue cultivating these forests?
And they all do.
They do, because the tree huggers want to go, oh my gosh, you're going to cut down all the trees, and what's going to happen to the owls? Come on.
They move to the next tree and the acre over that's not being cut for another
Then they
50
land
years.
on the windmill.
Oh yeah, that's nice. No, but we've got our own lumber. We could maybe produce our own, and maybe we can bring down some lumber prices
But
to
for
make
him
housing more affordable.
for him to blame Canada for the fentanyl problem and use that as his basis for the tariffs is BS. The fentanyl seized at the Canadian border is less than 1% of the total fentanyl that we get through the southern border, which I believe is like 97% of all fentanyl comes through the southern border. The other 2.5% they seize off ships off the coast or coming onto our beaches or through shipping containers at ports. That's where they find it all. I mean, that's the part that drives me nuts, and the illegal immigration thing. I mean, if you're really actually going to justify it, then let's justify it.
I think he's
But
leaning
use
on
something that's
Trudeau.
true
I think he's leaning
justification.
on their government. I don't know what. I've always found that if I acquiesce and just give him a little time, that there's you go, oh, it really was Hunter's lab. Oh, it really did happen in the Wuhan lab. Oh, he really was right again and again and again.
Well, Zelensky came back to the table.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
I joked yesterday, if it was me, I would tell Zelensky, now the deal's 60-40. 60-40 U.S. It was 50-50, and we were going to do all the work. Now it's 60-40. That's all you get is 40%. I get a kick out of the idea that the Brits were talking big about us. We're going to send jets and men and all, as long as the U.S. supports it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big talk.
$23 billion the EU collectively spent last year on buying Russian oil and gas. $19.6 billion collectively in providing aid to Ukraine.
Yeah.
They're funding both sides of the war. Why? I don't know why. I know why. The military-industrial complex.
That's
Because
exactly right.
It thrives all around the globe.
Why wouldn't the EU, so what's left of it, why wouldn't the Western Europe, why wouldn't they say, fine, we're not going to buy Russian oil? Because when they buy Russian oil,
They're
the
funding.
profits go to Putin, which go to attacking Ukraine.
Exactly. And there's plenty of oil from other sources, including us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so it's all politics at the highest levels. Hey, thank you. One more time. Victoria100club.com.
Yep.
March
20th.
20th. Victoria Country Club. Food, fun, and a really informative program, all for a great cause, supporting law enforcement.
And your membership is the same every year. It's $100 a year. And I know that you spend $100 easily wasting it on coffee or whatever you spend your money on throughout the week.
You know, if they would have just called this the Victoria, why don't we start a club, the Wade and Carter 500 Club?
Well, good luck. I don't get all that many $100. So you
understand.
good luck with your 500.
It matters, doesn't it? Well, I mean,
does.
the event matters. So,
Hey,
well,
look, the Callie Fromme fan club just grew.
Oh, nice. Thanks.
Mark Kurtz says, I vote for Callie as Wednesday co-host. Great content, great conversation.
Well, that's kind. Thank
there
you.
you have it. Hey, I'm going
Thanks.
to give you a window to make an exit. We just put the screen back
All right.
up.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate
I
you very much.
appreciate
Don't
y'all.
make your
Callie.
boy-
Thank you so much.
So that's Callie Fromme. She's awesome. She does a great job. What did John here say? Give a big arf on the show. Arf. Yeah, I got to get John to call us and give us that.
I wouldn't be opposed to Callie coming every Wednesday.
No, I think she's awesome. It's funny. She does it so, she's never liked you. And she's told me.
Well, it's funny. I'm just thinking, I'm thinking years down the road, but Wade and Callie has a pretty good
Wade and
ring to it. And I don't even have to
Callie.
change the logo.
Yeah.
Don't even have to change the logo much.
What's funny is in no time at all, it'd be called Callie and Wade. She would take over. Commander Cody
What was
says he's
that,
already
Cody?
got the logo changed and it's C&W now, not Wade and Carter. Yeah.
Michelle Wilson Hawkins, the LCBO is removing all American liquor from the shelves. That's the Liquor Control Board of Ontario. and
But
it
think
no
about
longer
that.
sell
Think about what you're saying there. The government-owned liquor store is taking away all the American liquor.
Which they've already bought
Canada's
and
a
paid
mess. Yeah, they're all drinking it themselves. Yeah.
Chizos, for any of you that know the boot brand, most of their boots are made in Nuevo Leon, which is a very historical and noted cobbler industry. They say they will not be raising their prices by 25% anytime soon.
Oh, that's
They
great
don't believe
advertising for them.
believe the tariffs are permanent, so I think they can absorb it short term.
Yeah,
So, there
tariffs
you go.
almost by definition are not permanent, so that's a nice thing.
A lot of them have been. And I didn't get Callie on this, but the lumber industry though is kind of their own worst enemy in way at times. They've known these tariffs were coming, so instead of buying lumber from Canada to get ahead of the tariffs, they sat on their hands and did nothing. I've got friends in that industry as well, and they're frustrated by the fact that it would make sense now to get the lumber in. They're going to end up paying 25% more.
Right. Torn Bales summing up the Doge ever said, look, I started a business from nothing. Sometimes you have to break things to fix them. That's the problem with spending someone else's money. No accountability. Doge is exposing the waste and fraud. By any by any definition, the government is inefficient. There's no doubt about it. So the idea that Elon Musk is ruffling feathers ought to thrill you. If you're a government employee and all of a sudden you've got to be accountable for your time for the first time ever after 20 years of being there, you ought to be thrilled as an American that your tax dollars are at least being watched. And by the way, there's nothing new here. Clinton tried to do it. Obama tried to do it and ran into too many obstacles. It was pre-AI. There was no way to do what he wanted to do. Trump tried to do some of it in his first term, but he didn't have Elon. He didn't have the AI.
Sam McKeeling says, I learned long ago not to tell people what $1 or a cup of coffee or cup of coffee means to them. People know what $1 means to them. Unfortunately, you should have told VISD that the last time they tried to pass the bond that failed because they were busy telling people how they should spend their dollars.
Just have one less cup of
one
coffee.
less cup of coffee, yeah.
Yeah.
John
and everybody
Anderson,
said no.
phone numbers on the bottom of the screen, 361-894-4020.
John,
but
give us
we're
a
at the
call.
top of the hour.
Oh,
Save it for
tomorrow,
tomorrow.
John.
Unless you really need to call us today.
Call us tomorrow. He wants to just give us a big arf. Call us tomorrow, buddy. Hey, we love you guys. I hope you have a great, great day. It is a Wednesday. Call to a Wednesday. Get into Veracruz today. Happy, significant Ash Wednesday. Have a great day, folks.
Bye, folks.
Bye-bye.
I'm kicked out of my near every bar around.